Hi everyone, welcome to the first installment on Facebook Live of Conversations with a Corgi. This is Trystan Corgi. He has lots of information to share with everyone. And I'm Sally Morgan, a physical therapist and craniosacral therapist in Western Massachusetts, and the author of the best-selling book on Amazon, Dances of the Heart, Connecting with Animals. Today I'd like to share with you some of the things about me because a lot of you might not know who I am or what I do, or if you do know me, you might not know the details about what I do. So what I'd like to first start with is explaining what is holistic physical therapy. I've been a physical therapist for nearly 20 years. Prior to that, I was a teacher, and I have been doing physical therapy with animals even before I became a physical therapist. I am a Tellington T-Touch practitioner. I do Reiki. I work with emotion code with animals, and I do vibrational healing with tuning forks. I do orthopedic adjustments, and I do craniosacral therapy. And I'm one of the originators of craniosacral therapy for animals, initially with horses, and then later developing the work with small animals. We held our first small animal class at my sister's farm, Dr. Judy Morgan, when she was living at a big horse farm in South Jersey. So holistic healing goes beyond the idea of just treating a body part for a situation. If someone comes to you and says, my knee hurts, and you spend an hour treating their shoulder because there's a connection between the shoulder and the knee, then you really need to be able to explain to them why you were treating their shoulder. And through the process of arcing in craniosacral therapy, I'm able to determine where the greatest lesion is in the body, and if you treat that, then you will access some of the more obvious things that are presenting as pain and dysfunction in a joint. So you don't always end up treating the part of the body that is giving you trouble. So holistic physical therapy is more than just a mind-body connection. It incorporates wholeness in all aspects of your life. It has to do with physical healing, mental healing, emotional well-being, and spiritual health. And holistic treatment strengthens your body's immune systems, and it energizes the self-healing process in you or your animal. Clients I see can regain balance in their lives and their bodies through holistic physical therapy. I work with horses to help them find balance in their body through saddle fit, shoeing, trimming, and also just imbalances in their muscles from one side of the body to the other. A rescued racehorse has been worked really strongly on one side of the body and not on the other side of the body. And even a horse ridden by a teenager who gets on and goes the same way of the ring every day for 15 minutes and then turns around for 5 minutes, that horse can also become imbalanced and require physical therapy. I also see horses for emotional imbalance that can feed into their unsoundness in their body. And that could be from an accident in the pasture, a past trauma if they're a rescued horse, or perhaps something that the owner even is aware of, like a fall. With dogs, holistic physical therapy increases impulse control. So if you have a dog that is very reactive, we, with Tellington T-Touch and craniosacral therapy, can help that dog try to think before he reacts, and he can respond in an intelligent way rather than just immediately going into fight, flight, or trying to escape from the situation or feeling extremely threatened. So, and it also, holistic physical therapy for dogs includes increasing physical well-being, which improves balance in the body. A dog who's out of balance in his body is out of balance in his mind and can't really focus on the work that you're asking him to do, and can't really even enjoy himself fully playing with you if your dog is a dog that just gets to play and live with you and have a happy life with you. For people, structural alignment is a big concern, and being in physical balance with structural alignment gives you equilibrium in all aspects of your life. So holistic physical therapy really encompasses the whole partnership of you and your pet, you and your body, you and your spiritual, emotional, and behavioral well-being, as well as all of that for your pet. So one of the things that I do, the most obvious one, is that I'm a craniosacral therapist. I trained with the Upledger Institute starting back in the early 90s. 91, I think, was my first class, and I have been associated with them for all of the years since then. I've also taken classes in craniosacral therapy with other forms of craniosacral therapy, biodynamics, and things like that. Craniosacral therapy is a very gentle way of working hands-on the body. Sometimes we do off-body work, which enhances the physiologic function of what we call the craniosacral system. So what that is the brain, the spinal cord, the sacrum, and the entire central nervous system. Trystan thinks that the Corgi should talk more in conversations with a Corgi. The pressure that you use on the body when you do craniosacral therapy is only 5 grams. That is the weight of a nickel. And I encourage anyone watching this to take a nickel and put it on your hand or your thigh or your forehead or your cheek and feel the difference. The weight of a nickel on your forehead feels sort of heavy, and the weight of a nickel on your thigh, or if you lay down on your stomach, on your back, it feels really light, like you can barely tell it's there. So it's a very light kind of therapy, and because craniosacral therapy is so light, it doesn't engage the body's self-defense mechanisms. Instead, you are able to, as Linda Tellington once said, fly under the radar and engage the body's self-healing mechanism, because you don't engage the parts of your body that try to protect you. Because with craniosacral therapy, it's so gentle, you don't need protection from it. And often people bring cats to me and they're concerned because their cat doesn't travel well, he's only been to the vet, and they're afraid he'll run around my house, we'll never find him. Nearly every cat falls asleep almost instantly when I start this work, because they're such energetic beings and they are able to fully engage their body's healing mechanisms during a session. Craniosacral therapy is very good for affecting balance and creating balance between the nervous system and the emotional system and the spiritual system. And craniosacral therapy also creates a balance between the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. So that means that the fight-flight response is balanced with the rest-digest response. And therefore, you can facilitate a balance in that system. So many people who drink a lot of coffee and have a really tough job and a really stressful family life are constantly in that fight-flight sympathetic stress system. And our animals get that from us. You know, maybe only for the hour you're there riding your horse, but a lot of dogs and cats live with this stressed out person and they become imbalanced. And some rescue dogs I've worked with who have been through many, many hard times in the shelters are also in that stress response, and they can't get out of it because every time they relax, something's happened to them to put them back into that stress response. So craniosacral therapy can help rebalance those two systems and get the dog or the person back to a place where they can be stressed when they need to and then relax when they need to. And that is an important thing. A few of my dog clients have been actually dismissed from dog school because the person running the training class said that the dog couldn't pay attention and he wasn't able to participate fully in the session of training, and that he was disruptive to the other dogs. I mean, it's kind of like your child, you know, when you get called into a conference at the school and they say, well, your son's just not participating in class properly and he's very disruptive and we're going to have to do something. So some of these dogs are lucky enough to have their people find me, and we can get them rebalanced in that stress and rest-digest mechanism so that they are able to focus again. Some of the dogs that I've worked with who have been in that stress response have been, you know, subjected to terrible experiences as puppies, which their owners are actually aware of. And we've been able to work through that. And over the days that I continue with the Facebook Live, I'll tell you some of the stories of specific clients we've helped. The other thing I do, one of the other things I do as a holistic physical therapist, is a kind of a newer therapy for me. I've been doing it a couple years. It's called emotion code, and it's a very powerful way to release trapped emotions from your body. And trapped emotions create barriers in your life to moving forward. I learned about emotion code work when I was in Hawaii, and we were going to go snorkeling and swim with the dolphins. Oh, hi, Sue Binger. Trystan says, Dory, I love you. Did you see he blew her a kiss? And I wanted to go swimming with the dolphins, and I am terrified of snorkeling, apparently. I put my snorkel, which my sister provided with me, on my face, and I could not breathe. And I didn't have a full-blown panic attack like some people are really aware of. I was just pretty scared, and I couldn't catch my breath. So my roommate, who did emotion code work, in about 5 minutes cleared some emotions that were trapped in me that I wasn't aware of. I mean, I've had a lot of body work, a lot of cranial work, and it was pretty amazing to me that there were these residual things trapped in my body, including anger from my dad's father. And he was an angry man, so this immediately made sense. And as she cleared these emotions from my body using a technique involving muscle testing and magnets to clear the governing meridian down the spine, I was able to take deeper and deeper breaths, and after her little session, I was able to sit there and watch TV with the snorkel for an hour and a half. And the next day, you know, we go out into the ocean and they just throw you off the back of the boat and say, swim with the dolphins. This was with spinner dolphins in Hawaii, which they no longer allow you to do. And, you know, I'm not a great swimmer, but I swam around out there. I had a great time. I had all kinds of snorkel malfunctions. There was a time when I was very far from the boat. I wasn't even sure if they could see me, and yet I was very safe and comfortable in my snorkel. So that's when I learned the power of emotion code work. And these emotions, trapped emotions, can cause you to make wrong assumptions, overreact, misinterpret the behavior of others, which is a common problem for us. You know, you think that you're okay, but everyone around you is not okay. You might have a lot of trapped emotions. And this can create feelings of anxiety, depression, despair, and stagnation in your life. So these trapped emotions are a serious issue, and there's a beautiful video put out by the Gaia Institute, I believe it was, that I posted on my websites and my pages on Facebook, Craniosacral Therapy for Animals and Sally Morgan PTCST, that describes the work of the emotion code and the profound changes doing emotion code can enhance in your life. And so I am able to do this work long distance, and I work primarily with animals, but I just had a very interesting session with a human. I've done 4 or 5 sessions with her horse, and I met her in Virginia a year ago, and the horse still had what we call a heart wall, and that's where you have trapped emotions as creating a barrier around your heart, which makes it very hard for you to relate to the rest of the world. And it's very hard for you to give and receive love when you have that barrier around your heart, which we call a heart wall. So I was working with this horse because the owner really wanted to connect with him. She was an older lady, you know, not 20. She was, you know, middle-aged. She wanted to have a horse that would be her love for the rest of her life and be her partner and really just enjoy him. Like so many girls want a horse when they're 15 and they end up being later in life before they can get their first horse. And she's a beautiful warm blood who had a different life before he came here to America. And so over the course of those sessions, his heart wall got down to 1 inch thick, which is not much. A lot of them start out feet thick and made of bricks. But at the last session, I said, let's try working on you as well, because there might be things in you that are keeping you from connecting with your animal. And so that session released a lot of emotions from her that she wasn't aware of, and you don't need to go back through the list and find parts in your life when you felt these emotions. The fact that they come up and are treated with emotion code work, they're released completely. And then you can move on with your life, and you feel a lightness, and it's just different. You feel better after a session. And the changes in her relationship with her horse since that final or recent session, treating the horse and the person, was phenomenal. And I think from now on, I'm going to suggest to people when I'm doing emotion code work with their animal that we also do a session for them so that they can connect fully with their animal as well. So that's the second thing I do. The third thing I do is Reiki. Many people do Reiki now. I still remember early in the craniosacral classes that, you know, we'd have 1 or 2 Reiki practitioners in the room of massage therapists, chiropractors, OTs, and PTs, and people would kind of be like, what the heck? And now, nearly everyone in the room has been trained in Reiki. It's become so popular, and thank God nurses are using it in nursing homes and hospitals and hospice care, and Reiki has become a really popular modality. Reiki means universal life force. And what that means is that you're connecting with the universal energy around us to enhance healing, self-healing for the person or animal being treated with Reiki. The person will receive the Reiki, they'll have better harmony in their life, in their body, The body's healing mechanisms are accelerated with the use of Reiki, and you end up with a balanced and joyful well-being after a Reiki session. The practitioner often lays their hands on the body or near the body in the areas of the chakras. And in animals around the heart area, we have an 8th chakra, which Marguerite Coates has identified and written about. And she's a body worker in England who has written 2 great books about working with animals. And the 8th chakra is right behind the shoulder. Often you'll see a dog like Kim, they have this little light area in their fur. Right in here is where that 8th chakra is, and that's their connection to humans. This is a good place to greet an animal you don't know, going up to them with the back of your hand towards the animal like this, so that you're not threatening them like this. So you go this way. It's much more gentle and better for the animal. So when we do Reiki, we're going to work over all 8 chakras, and that will help balance these energy points in the body. If an animal is passing away, and I do a lot of work with hospice and senior animals in the last days, weeks, and minutes of their lives, and Reiki is then very, very important, because your chakras will actually reverse the direction they spin as you're passing away. And sometimes, I had a horse in particular, his 3rd eye chakra was just lingering and lingering and lingering, and I really had to help him find his way across the Rainbow Bridge and help close that chakra and get it spinning in the direction, the counterclockwise direction, so that he could pass on peacefully. And his story is incredible, and I will tell you in another day the whole story of that horse. So anyway, Reiki works with the body's chakras, and you just gently place your hands on the body. A lot of people don't directly work on the chakras when they do Reiki. They work off the body from a distance, especially when they're working with animals, and they just simply offer that universal life force healing energy to the being that they're working with. And there are many different schools of Reiki. So I am a Reiki master. I am certified to teach Reiki, and I have done that a few times, but I primarily teach craniosacral and Tellington T-Touch. The other sort of work I do in holistic physical therapy is vibrational healing. For that, I use these tuning forks, which I get from the Biosonics company. I have many sets of them. In fact, I have a set of tuning forks that are calibrated to the chakras that I use when an animal is passing away, or if an animal is in great distress and anxiety, because it will help balance all of the systems of the body if you can balance the chakras or these energy points. This particular fork is the C128 Hertz fork, which I use actually somewhat as an orthopedic manipulation tool directly on the spinal segments to increase mobility in an area where there's decreased mobility. This is called the Universal Healing Fork because it does bring up the vibrational frequency of areas of the body to a point where they are more functional. For instance, many areas of the body vibrate between 70 and 80, 85 hertz. When you have cancer, your parts of your body that are cancer-ridden are vibrating at 50 hertz. So if you can enhance the frequency around that area and bring up the vibration, you will create an environment where the cancer can't live because the frequency will be too high for it. Now, of course, you cannot always or ever maybe heal cancer with just tuning forks, but you can help keep your body healthy so that you won't get cancer. And I've had great luck with tuning forks for many, many things. They also make a sound. This one, you probably can't hear it. It's a very low sound. I have also an ohm fork, which is a deeper, it's a G, and I use that often on the sacrum of animals that are ungrounded to help them, and they really like it. I've almost stopped using a chiropractic type tool on cats and almost primarily treat their malalignments in their structural system with the tuning forks because they like it so much. So tuning forks and what I call vibrational healing are a really critical part of my work, and it's a newer thing for me. I've been doing it about 5 years. As far as I know, I'm the only person using the forks in the way that I use them, and I've had great success with them, and they are part of almost every session. And then, of course, I use essential oils in a lot of my sessions with animals for relaxation and to enhance different aspects of the body that might be out of balance, you know, to bring a lightness, to bring a groundedness. So essential oils are an important part of my work. and also flower essences. I've been using flower essences for years, and I'm going to develop a relationship with a company that I really like called Botanical Animal, and I've been working with my sister with those flower essences that they make for a number of years, and I'm very, very pleased with how effective they are. I used sibling rivalry with Comet Corgi and Trystan when I first got him to help them become acclimated to being household brothers. Yes, you remember your brother Comet. And it worked really well. Within a few days, they were playing together instead of vying for whose attention, which one would get mom's attention. And the fifth thing that I do, which is one of the most important things I do, is Tellington T-Touch. And this amazing work was developed by internationally recognized animal expert Linda Tellington Jones, who I've had the pleasure of being personal friends with since about 1983. And Linda has a specialized approach to working with horses, people, and companion animals to help enhance healing, to help bring desired behaviors. I hate to use that kind of clinical word because it's not really it, but it's a way to help your animal want to work with you and really become, you know, not just a partner, but like your dance partner in your life. And that's really where the title of my book, Dances of the Heart, comes from the idea of creating a partnership with your animal that goes beyond just like a working partnership to a place where you are together happily and joyfully and gleefully. Parts of T-Touch that we use with animals are the actual body work, which is T-Touch, and there are many of those, and I plan to have a review of every one of them over the course of these Facebook Lives. And then we also use the confidence course. If I can get my helper Brian here, I'll show you the confidence course live in the yard. But I also have one that's a portable model, thanks to my friend Rose Reese, that I developed, copying her. And that is a series of obstacles that we use. It's not an agility course, but some people think it is. And there are many things that we ask dogs to do with us to help them learn how to approach a new situation, or a horse, and think about how they're going to do it, and instead of just reacting. So we use a thing primarily often that we use called a labyrinth, and that looks like a little maze. And we learn so much about the animal and the human by going through the labyrinth. And there are many, many details about the labyrinth that are very important that I will, again, talk about in another session. But the labyrinth can show us information about their physical balance, going around corners. We can learn a lot about lameness. We can learn about their emotional balance. And a lot of times people look at it and they just run their dog right through at the end of the leash, dragging him or him pulling them. And they're missing the point and the power of the labyrinth, because it really is about how they go through the labyrinth, how they use their legs, how they emotionally, are they falling out of balance, are they in balance? It's amazing what you can learn about an animal by taking it around a small turn, and about a human's relationship with their animal. So that's an important part of the confidence course. We use different surfaces. We use a little raised pole for them to walk on, and we use optics for them to walk around. And with horses, we use plastic and they walk under it. And even with humans, we've done a lot of the confidence course work and seen huge changes. It's a really powerful tool. Another aspect of Tellington work is the equipment. We use a lot of different harnesses, and we have a couple of favorites that we use more often than not, but it's also important that your equipment fit your animal and be the right one for your animal. So there is no one tool that's good for every animal, and a lot of learning Tellington work is understanding which tool works best with which animal in which setting. And again, we will discuss many of those. And then the final part of T-Touch is your intention. And your intention is usually to remember the potential for perfection in the cells of the body and in the animal's ability to cope with his world, or the humans, or the horses. So remember your potential for perfection. That's a really important aspect of T-Touch. And like cranial work, T-Touch engages the body's self-healing mechanism, and it works on the central nervous system. It is not massage. Massage works on the muscular system, and it's very different. I also do massage, but I hardly ever use it in a session because I have all these other really powerful tools. And if you can affect the nervous system, you can make a big change in the muscular system. So that's an overview of what I do and what holistic physical therapy is, and Trystan Corgi. And I'd like to close by showing you a T-touch that Linda developed called the Tellington Heart Hug. And it's one of the most powerful ways that you can connect with your animal. I've written about it in my book, and I've talked about it in my blogs, and it's a really important thing. And I'm going to have to reposition the Corgi so that you can see how to do this. You just cross your hands over your heart and try it both ways, because you might automatically go to one side on the bottom, but feel better with it the other way. So today I like it this way. And then you're going to imagine the face of a clock right here with the 6 down here, and you're going to make a circle and a quarter around the face of the clock, coming back to the 9. And you just do one circle. So you're going to just press into your clothing so that you can feel your skin, because you're really moving the skin around in that circle and a quarter. Wait a second, Bisky, please. So you're going to take a breath in as you come up on that half of a circle, and an exhale slowly as you come back around the circle to the 9. And I love when you do this to think about 3 things you love about your animal, or 3 things you're grateful for about your animal, or 3 things that you're grateful for about yourself and your life if you are not doing it with your animal. But since I'm always with my Corgi or another animal, I always try to connect it to the animal. So you just take a deep breath and make that circle and a quarter as you inhale and exhale, coming back around the clock. And think about how much you love your pet. You can also do the heart hug on your pet, right between their front legs here. Put your hand on their heart, imagine the 6 at the base of the clock, and just make a circle and a quarter around their chest, exhaling. Did you see he took a breath and blinked his eyes at the end of that circle? I'll do a few more. So I'd like everyone to try a heart hug with their pet today, or if you're not in a place where you can do it with your pet, just imagine your pet and how much you love him as you do that circle and a quarter. Thank you very much for joining me for the first Facebook Live Conversations with a Corgi. And my website, for those who don't know, is www.sallymorganpt.com. And I have Facebook pages, Sally Morgan PT CST. Craniosacral Therapy for Animals is another one of my Facebook pages. And please like my pages and friend me and follow me. That would be great. And tomorrow I will not be on at the same time because I have an unrelated job that I do once a week, and I have to leave very early in the morning to do that. So I might do something later in the day. But generally, I'm going to try to do these between 8:20 and 8:30, which is often around the time my sister, Judy Morgan, DVM, is wrapping up her Facebook Live, so that if somebody's interested, they can go straight from her Facebook Live to mine and have a full, fun-filled half an hour in their morning to spend with spaniels and corgis and talking about animals' health and wellness. Thank you very much.